Hello, everyone, and thanks again for tuning in to the latest edition of FranCoach's Franchising 101 podcast. I am Tim Parmeter, founder and CEO of FranCoach and your podcast host. Today, I am super excited. We're going to be able to welcome in to join us today, really one of the premier franchise groups that is out there. These guys are amazing. We're going to discuss their company as a whole and all of the different benefits that come with being a franchise owner in their system, as well as kind of a quick update on their 9 brands. So we got a lot to hit today. Quick reminder, as always, of who we are. FranCoach is a national search firm dedicated to working with individuals like yourself interested in owning a franchise. We're partnered with well over 600 of the top franchisors in the country, spanning nearly 70 industries. Our goal is to help clients find the absolute best franchise for them to own. And the goal of the Franchising 101 podcast is to simply educate you on all aspects of franchise ownership. All right, so that's us. Now let's get to the good stuff. We're not talking one of those little pesky franchise development people. We've gone to the top of the food chain today. We have the CEO of Empower Brands, Mr. Scott Zide. Scott, thanks for joining us today.
Tim, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
We are excited to talk to you. It's been a while, but we have had somebody with your last name on here before. Clearly we got the better half today. So we're super excited about that and want to talk about Empower Brands. But first, I think franchising, and even I know on the Empower website, it talks about the importance of people first. I think that's hugely important in franchising. So tell us a little about Scott and kind of how you even got into this crazy thing called franchising.
Sure. Thanks, Tim. So I've been lucky enough to spend my entire career in franchising. So I was 23 years old right out of school, and a friend of mine who became a partner of mine, we opened 2 sub shops in St. Louis, Missouri. So I was a franchisee first at a very young age, learned a lot. Learned how important the franchisee-franchisor relationship was through that experience. Erin and I, my wife Erin and I, we licensed the outdoor lighting perspectives business. I think we were the 5th franchisee 20 plus years ago now. And then through that experience, I was recruited to join the franchisor. The founder of that business brought me on as a consultant to be a business coach. And that was really my first experience on the franchisor side of things, coaching, mentoring, supporting, training. And I quickly learned after a few months, that's what I loved and that's what I enjoyed. And that ultimately is what has led me over the last 20 plus years now on the franchisor side to lead a number of brands, founded a couple of brands, founded a multi-branded franchisor called Outdoor Living Brands, and then now lucky enough to lead and serve as the CEO of Empower Brands. So I've been at it from a franchisee, a founder, a leader, and have, again, I think I look back and it's been a wonderful ride. And I would say I'm lucky that I chose franchising at such a young age because it's taken me down this great path.
It's amazing, isn't it? And people, however they get into it, and there's not always necessarily a lot of intent into it, right out of college. Hey, let's go do this, right? Sounds cool. You think you can do anything, and then here you are. Like, people, once they get into this thing, they just don't get out. They may kind of slide around as you've done from a couple different angles, but franchising is like it becomes in our blood. It is what we do. So
it does.
Super cool. And obviously your wife Erin, who's been on talking. I think we had her on Architect, maybe even Outdoor Lighting Perspectives at a different time. You guys have had that journey together as a family, which is super cool as well. So very nice. And so now over the last couple of years, like Outdoor Living Brands has just like grown and exploded, and talk about how that's kind of all come about and turned into such a bigger, more powerful thing that is Empower Brands.
Yeah. So as we were growing Outdoor Living Brands, we knew at some point in time that if we wanted to put the foot on the gas and grow even more, we may need a partner to help us with that. So we got to a size and scale back in 21 where we went through a process to find a private equity partner to help us accelerate that growth. And through that process, we partnered up with an entity called Lynx Franchising. And Lynx was really the same thing as Outdoor Living Brands, multi-branded franchisor. The only difference was all of their brands were on the commercial side of things, where we were more on the home side. And it was a wonderful partnership from a cultural standpoint, and then the strategic diversification was an important move for us as well. So it was really the coming together of those two organizations that brought us to a much larger scaled platform and much larger scaled franchisor. And I stepped into the CEO seat about 4 months into that. And one of the things that I recognized right out of the gate was that while we were together, sort of together, we really weren't acting that way, where the two organizations were still separate. And my job was to unify that. And that was really part of that process, was to rebrand ourselves. So we went through a 4+ month process to restate our mission, our purpose, our values, figure out who we wanted to be. And ultimately, the Empower Brands name came out of that at the end of that process. So we've been Empower Brands for about a year now. And there has been a lot that's gone on since then. But that's how we went from Outdoor Living Brands to Lynx Franchising and now to Empower Brands.
Yeah, it's not just like, hey, let's hold a raffle to see who can pick the name that we're going to change it to, right? There's a little bit more to it than that, right? So, and then now as we continue to grow, kind of got that consolidation, continue to grow. And I said at the beginning of this really confidently that there are 9 brands. I think that's right. So I as that was coming out of my mouth, I'm like, oh, geez, I think it's 9. Is it 9? Is that correct?
You're really close. 2 more than that.
Oh my goodness.
11 okay. Brands, because we just launched 2 new brands just in the last 45 days.
Okay. Well, I'm going to blame your wife. She told me 9. So I just want that on, I want that on record. So, okay. So here's the real money question for you. Like, give us the name. Can you name all 11? This is like naming your children. Can you?
Yeah, we can go through.
Let's hear it.
I'll do the best I can. So there's 8 on the home side, the home services side. So you have Architect, Outdoor Living, Outdoor Lighting Perspectives, Superior Fence and Rail, Conserva Irrigation, Koala Insulation, Wallaby Windows, and then the 2 newest brands are Bumble Roofing and Canopy Lawn Care. So those are the 8 home services brands. And then we have 3 on the what I would call B2B commercial side. JanPro being the largest one, Intelligent Office Shared Workspace brand, and then First Team, which is a restoration brand.
Gotcha. Okay.
I did it. I got all 11.
Counting. Yeah, that was it. So, the home service piece, right, is, there are other, let's be honest, there are other groups that have a cluster of home service brands. I think the thing kind of ties, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but in my mind, I always tie these in. These are like higher end, higher quality home service type of brands, right? We got like Architects borderline bougie, right? With that, every time I'm on their website, I'm like, gosh, I wish my backyard looked like that instead of what it looks like, right? But these are higher quality, really making your living space significantly better, right? Most of which is outside, Wallaby kind of inside outside. So is that by design that you guys have really sought out those, higher, nothing wrong with the unsexy stuff, right? But that's not really what you guys have on board for the most part with your brands. How much was that by design, or is that just kind of happened accidentally?
I think it's just happened over time. I think all the brands are positioned as a premium provider in the marketplace, and that's just through differentiation in the value that we bring to the consumer, whether it's through technology, the products we use, the customer experience, all those things we believe should be world-class. And I think that's what gives it that elevated professionalism, sophistication, the modernization that we try and bring across all the brands. But, we have a pretty good mix of discretionary and non-discretionary, wants and needs.
Yeah.
And I think being diversified that way, that was by design. But you'll see that some of the latest brands that we've brought into the portfolio are probably more home improvement, home repair. The addressable markets are significant. They're more need repair based. And we think having, just an unbelievable runway for growth.
Nice. Hey everyone, I am proud to spotlight one of our premier franchise partners, Moran Family of Brands. Moran is a family of brands in the automotive aftermarket segment, with offerings including Mr. Transmission, Milex Complete Auto Care, and Turbo Tint. These are great brands on their own, but they offer owners the unique opportunity to co-brand, which is basically giving you two franchises under the same roof. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Maybe you're not really a car person, so you're not sure if you could own this. Well, guess what? Moran Brands, they're not looking for mechanics. They're looking for business owners who understand this is an industry that is never going away and is constantly evolving. Now you might be saying, well, geez, what about the hybrids and the EVs? And I'm going to tell you, Milex and Mr. Transmission have been franchising since I was in college. And believe me, folks, that is a long time ago. They have evolved from catalytic converters to the tech-savvy cars of today and will continue to adapt for decades to come. Now, if all that's not enough, Moran Family Brands is truly a family-based franchise system. From their leadership team to their franchise owners, some of whom are second and even third generation owners, the culture of family first is embodied in everything they do. If this sounds like it might be a great fit for you, then get in touch with us today to learn more about becoming a Moran Family Brands franchise owner so that you can create your better tomorrow. As somebody that comes in and they're owning any of these brands, there are going to be things obviously specific to the brand that are key, but there's some huge resources and benefits of having something like Empower Brands. So talk a little bit about some of the things you guys really kind of hang your hat on from a support mechanisms for your owners.
Yeah, so I think being the size and scale that we are, the resources that we do have helps, and it allows us, we believe, to provide a higher level, more personal, intentional level of support. And the best way to describe it is we really have two types of support, Tim. One is the brand specific team. So you have a brand president, you have a director, and then you have the coaches where they spend all of their time on that brand and they work day by day, week by week with each of the franchisees. What you also get with Empower Brands and a multi-branded platform is you get what's called the shared support teams. And those are the teams where there are subject matter experts, marketing, IT, finance and accounting, HR, onboarding. Those are the teams that really work across brands. And we leverage their experience, skill sets, insights across all the brands. So the brand teams actually tap into the shared support teams for advice and help and support. So I view it as two layers of support. And ultimately, that allows us to better ramp franchisees, better onboard franchisees, better train them, and ultimately allow our franchisees to achieve the goals they have in their life and in their careers, I think, much faster than, let's say, if we were still a individual brand.
There's so much more like kind of depth to it, right? And I think that the whole point of a franchise, or one of them, is the support, right? You got that proven system. Every franchise out there is going to have, hey, we got some training, we got some support. right? And I always think there's franchises that have support, and then there are franchisors that have we will show up on your doorstep support, right? And certainly, again, we've worked probably closer with Architect and Outdoor Lighting perspective over the years, but you guys have we will show up at your doorstep level of support, right? When you were talking about you got somebody specific to the brand, we've got marketing, we've got IT, we've got all these things, we have business coaches. Like it is next to impossible to fail when you have like people can try, right? We've all seen that happen, but it's incredible the amount of support that you have internally for that. And you're right. Like, could a single brand have support? Yes. Can they have that level? Probably not. As you've started to add the new brands, how are you seeing the different franchises kind of work together when they're in the same market?
Yeah, so one of the things we do right out of the gate is we facilitate introductions for franchisees that are all in the same location. So it really starts there. If there's a relationship that's built there, they almost become their own BNI networking group,
right?
Where they're sharing leads, they're sharing referrals, they commiserate together, they share best practices. So it really starts at the local level. We, as the franchisor, we're embarking upon an effort and initiative right now from a data and a technology standpoint that will allow us down the road to start to cross promote and cross sell. That will down the road will allow us to drive lead flow sales to our franchisees. As the footprint grows, as the number of brands grows, we believe that opportunity to cross promote and cross sell will grow as well. So we're huge proponents of networking and relationship building at the local level. And I think is one of the benefits we have as Empower Brands. If you're a franchisee of one of our brands, again, you naturally have sort of a peer group from day one. And it can be a really important peer group to have.
Well, and I think as an owner, especially probably any business, but especially home service, right? One of the things you need to do as an owner, you need to get out and connect. Right? You mentioned a BNI, or I'm going to connect with some other home service brands. If you have basically like part of your family, right, that's already there, that's a huge advantage, because if I own Architect, well, like I've got customers that trusted me to build this amazing outdoor oasis for them. I might look at their grass and go, have you thought about watering this at all? Right. Let me hook you up with my buddy at Conserva. Right. And just it's going to be enormous for your owners as they continue to kind of grow and get more of them in all the different markets. So that's huge. Are you seeing some of your existing owners take interest in the new brands as well to kind of diversify their portfolio?
Yeah, so we have a number of franchisees that own more than one brand. In fact, today we have 5 buying groups for Canopy Lawn Care here today for an Empower Day, we call it. And they are all existing Empower brands for franchisees. So their goal is to diversify what they have and add a brand. So I think that trend, that we'll see more and more of that as we add brands. And some of the brands are a natural fit. Conserva Irrigation, Canopy Lawn Care, great fit.
Right.
So those I think we'll continue to see that. And as we do add brands, or when we incubate brands, start brands from scratch, where the white space is wide open,
right.
That's where I think franchisees get interested. But it does have to be the right time. They have to have the right team in place to begin to focus on another brand. The capital has to be there. So we don't just let anybody add a brand or diversify. There's a process they go through, and we certainly don't want to hurt or cannibalize their first brand because they decided to expand.
Well, and again, you and I both know there are franchises out there. Like if you can, do you have a pulse? Can you fog a mirror?
Right.
Right. Like they're going to like, and unfortunately that's the case, and doesn't mean you can't still be successful in those. But I've always had a tremendous amount of respect for, like, I think you guys are very picky, right?
Hmm.
Maybe selective is a better word, right? But like, you're not just letting anybody come in. You are truly making sure people are the right fit for the specific brand. And I think your overall culture. So the fact that you're looking at that as, existing owners that are already doing well. And I'm like, no, are you guys sure you're ready for
Right.
this? Right. And almost kind of making them convince you of that is like, again, I want people to hear that. Like, that is incredibly cool, because that's not always the way, but it shows that you guys are truly, I think, truly there for the success of the franchise owners. So
Yeah, and it's really, Tim, it's gone back to when we went through the rebranding process. One of the mottos that came out of that really speaks to who we are, and we talk about it almost every day here, is we champion the success of our franchisees. It's a saying that came out of that process, and I think it's in our DNA. It's just who we are. We're franchisee first. It may go back to the fact that members of the leadership team were franchisees.
right.
That's a really important aspect of the team we have here, is many of us were franchisees first, and we can always reflect on what was that like and what was the experience we went through. And we want to make sure that that relationship that we have with all of our franchisees is so strong. So I think we have the cultural piece truly is what I think makes a franchisor strong or not. And we've been doing this a long time. We've learned what's worked and what doesn't work. And we've built a team that truly has bought into franchisee first.
Hey everyone, I wanted to take a quick break from our podcast to tell you about our amazing friends at Entrepreneur. If you're looking to become a franchisee or simply learn more about business ownership, and guys, let's be honest, you're listening to the Franchising 101 podcast, so we know you have some interest in this. And I really encourage you to go to entrepreneur.com to check out all of their great content and resources. Seriously, Entrepreneur has everything, all the way from a bookstore to the best podcasts, webinars, and videos, plus information on upcoming events and the latest articles that seriously, they cover all aspects of franchising and business ownership. If you're having trouble deciding which franchise is right for you, start with Entrepreneur's renowned Franchise 500 ranking, which highlights the best franchises of 2022. For 45 years and counting now, Entrepreneur has been and continues to be the most widely recognized and respected authority in the franchise market. Digital and print subscriptions are available, so you never miss out on anything. So seriously, what are you waiting for? Go to entrepreneur.com right now and learn more.
Well, and I think the word culture is a little buzzwordy, right? Like, there's always a culture. Just, is that the one you want to be a part of, right? But I think there's almost like kind of family feel to every time we've had any of our clients, whether they've become an owner of an Empower brand or if they've just gone through the process. I always know they're going to have an amazing experience, because like, it's genuinely good people. And when you talk to franchise owners, it's been consistent over the years of the owners are happy. Like, they're busy, which is like, sometimes they're stressed right from it, but I'd rather be stressed because I'm busy than stressed because I'm like not, right? But I think they do a good job of communicating with each other as well, right? I don't know about all of your brands, but I know Architect and OLP for sure. It's nothing for them to pick up the phone and call each other if there was something that comes up, which is really kind of a top-down approach you guys have to create that. We're all in this together. We're all a family. Are you in Virginia or Nevada? Where everywhere across the country, you guys do that. So that's really a testament to you and your team to create that. And again, kind of culture, for lack of a better word. It's really cool, and it's not super common. So I love that.
Thank you.
Is there anything? This could maybe a little kind of tough question, but because you've got some very different brands with this. But any kind of trait or quality that you guys look for in owners, maybe that kind of transcends all of the brands?
Yeah, I would say typically we're looking for someone who may have a sales and marketing background, whether they've been in a role or education, just experience. Because ultimately, when you have, let's just take the home side, most of those are in-home sales.
Right.
And that either ability or desire to be in sales and build a sales or organization is very, very important. I would say we're looking for someone who has been in a leadership role at some point in their career, because not just leadership from building a team, but leadership from holding yourself accountable. And that's one of the most important things I think we do look for, is who's going to get up in the morning, who's going to look themselves in the mirror and say,
right,
I own this, it's my business, and I'm the one who's going to drive this. And it's a trait that we're trying to look for as we work with prospective franchisees. I think someone whose engine revs high, we're looking for that energy, because this is not easy, right? Owning your own business, starting your own business, it's hard.
Yeah.
And we're looking for someone who brings a certain level of enthusiasm, passion, energy. And we've been through enough Empower Days, Confirmation Days, Discovery Days. You start to get a sense of that when you meet someone, even in the first hour or so.
Yeah.
So those are just some of the traits that we look for. But ultimately, I think the leadership, optimism, positivity, that's 2/3 of it right there.
Yeah. And there's that whole, like, the buck stops here, right? As an owner, right? Do you want to be the armchair quarterback and like point out all the problems, or do we want to figure everything out, right?
Yeah.
That's tough to read sometimes. Even, we're trying to do the same thing too, to help people realize if this is the right thing. And I always appreciate, like, no matter what brand it is within Empower, you guys are really honest, like borderline scaring people off. Like, hey, this is hard work, right? Like, it doesn't just start raining $1,000 bills, right? Just say, hey, all right, I'm a franchise owner, let's go. Like, and that's where, again, just is it that right fit, and are you going to put forth that effort? And I like, even on the Empower brand website, I think there's even something about, well, see it behind you, in fact, like people first.
Yep.
Right. And I think that's, again, everybody that I've ever met over the years within Empower is they're optimistic, they're positive, they're like, let's get stuff done, right? It's kind of let's figure stuff out. And so again, when it's top down, it's pretty easy. And then everybody, I would assume at an Empower Day, if you have 5 groups and one of them doesn't have that, they're going to almost kind of like, I might be in the wrong room. And that's okay too, right? You want to make sure everybody, like, it really is that mutual fit. So
yeah, we had 8 groups here yesterday, and as I said, 5 here today, so 13 in the last 2 days. And just the energy with our team, that should bring it out, because our team yesterday was a great day. It was fun, it was exciting, the enthusiasm was there, and you could see the folks that were here. They were genuinely excited and enthused about what they learned, who they met, what they saw. And several of them told me at the end of the day, we exceeded the expectations they had at the beginning of the day. And if you can do that, then we did our job, and it's now on them to go home and see it, make sure this is the right fit.
Yeah, I love it. Scott, I want to be super respectful of your time. I know you're busy. So, like, last thing I'll kind of throw at you, and this is probably a little loaded question, but is there anything else in particular that you would really want folks to know about Empower brands that maybe we haven't touched on today?
No, I think it's really just about some of our newer brands, because they have not been out in the market that long, especially both Canopy Lawn Care and Bumble Roofing. We're just beginning to launch those. And we took a lot of time to find the right partner for those brands. So what we did there was, when we go through what's called our incubation process, meaning we're going to start a brand from scratch, we find a local company and a local founder, and we partner with them. And we partner with them to use the business that they've built, that they founded, as the foundation for a franchise. And those two brands in particular, even maybe compared to the other 9 brands, the amount of technology and automation and progressiveness those brands have, I think, are very unique to us. And it's been fun to get to know the founders in those teams, to see what they've done to really, they're trying to cater to the customer 5 years from now or 10 years from now. And that customer wants speed of service, automation, responsiveness. Everything has to be quick, because that's the world that we live in. Right. So I think I just quickly wanted to point out that we have these 2 new brands, and that's great, but some of the things they've done from a technology standpoint really set them apart, and I think set them apart even from the other 9 brands we have here today.
Nice. Well, and the stuff you're going to be able to, like, every great idea in business is probably stolen from somewhere else. Yep. So take those and add that in as needed and necessary from the other brands. And not to be a spoiler alert for all of our amazing followers, but Bumble Roofing may possibly be a guest on this podcast. Yeah. I don't know, in like 7 days. So just be ready for that. And then Canopy, I know I've got to, like, just me personally, I think that's the newest one. Yep. I got to get up to speed on that so I can make sure everybody else knows too. But Scott, it is a pleasure to have you on and be able to speak with you today. It's been an amazing experience over the years. No matter what the name was, the experience has always been the same, but everybody with the Empower team has been fantastic. And just excited to see you guys continue to grow and bring more amazing franchises into the world. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Tim. And yeah, thanks for having me on, and thanks for all your support as well.
Awesome. Thanks so much. And as always, thanks to our loyal podcast listeners for tuning in every single week to the Franchising 101 podcast series. I want to make you aware of something we're really super excited about that's coming kind of outside the Franchising 101 podcast, but very much in line with it. Our good pals over at entrepreneur.com are starting a webinar series next month. Wednesday, November the 8th, 3 Eastern is going to be the first one of a series of webinars on franchising, and I'm excited to be able to be a part of that. So definitely get yourself registered. There'll be a link here for you to do so. Wednesday, November 8th, 3 Eastern, we're going to be talking about the side hustle as it pertains to franchising. You hear us talk a lot about semi-absentee ownership. We're going to be going into a great deal of in depth with that. Then Wednesday the 8th, 3 Eastern. You can always find us at francoach.net, franchising101podcast.net. Reach out. We'll help you figure out what the best franchise is for you to own and help you create your better tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk with you next week.